One player that I think you feel is going to be essential if we can win the league or not win the league up front for getting the goals is Timo Werner. I feel it's been weird with Timo because at least for the last couple of games, he's been disappointing in front of goal. But people who've watched him in Leipzig and watched him throughout his career say he's always been a player that's missed a lot of chances. He's scored a lot of goals. Like his goal scoring record over the past season and over that now has been really impressive. Like he's up there with like Robert Lewandowski for like goals scored. But in terms of big chances missed, I mean, is it concerning to you, despite scoring a lot of goals for Chelsea so far this season, missing these big chances? Is that a concern for you, or is it just something that's going to be Timo Werner's sort of career, at least for now?
I mean, the thing is, like, I watched a lot of him at Leipzig. You know what? I don't know if you remember when everybody was arguing about Dembele, Martinez, and I was a Werner advocate from the very beginning. A lot of people call him a pace merchant. I mean, I don't know, when people say pace merchant and like that's all he has to his game, it's the equivalent of telling me Batman without his tools is not useful. That's what makes Batman. And pace is what makes Werner. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can't really say if he didn't have pace, he can't play too well. Because he's never been that clinical. Do you know what I'm saying? He's not a Haaland level clinical. Do you know what I mean? Even Drogba wasn't that clinical. The only strikers I can think of, Haaland is extremely clinical. Costa was really clinical as well. Like them lot would finish their chances and they would scrap and get stuff done. But with the number of chances Chelsea currently create, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue, because one thing that a lot of people tend to forget about Werner and Havertz especially, I'm a big advocate for defending Havertz this season because I'm not expecting anything from him this season. I don't want him to acclimatize and get used to the 11. But with Werner in particular and Havertz, these men are coming from Germany. In Germany, they go on break for a whole month, get used to everything and relax, and their muscles get to, like, everything just not tense up, get relaxed, and like you get to rest and get yourself back into game. Werner doesn't have that. He's going from going on holiday during this period to playing the game every 2.5 to 3 days. That's ridiculous. Do you know what I'm saying? Look at how much effort and how much passion he puts on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? He works really hard, even when he doesn't score. That's sort of like almost like Costa-esque. You know, when Costa went on that dry run, you could still tell that Costa was on the pitch. Werner is kind of the same thing. And a lot of things that people came to forget is that Werner keeps playing on that left wing. I understand why he's been playing there, because Dami has been scoring a few goals left, right, and centre. But I mean, I'd like to see him play more central. Let's get him more central. But I'm not too worried. The thing, though, is that they haven't done anything for me that says we shouldn't go out and get an Erling Haaland. Do you know where I'm coming from? That's the only thing it is. I'm going to give them to the end of the season and next season to acclimatize, because it's only fair, because that's how I judge players from Germany. If it's Spain, France, I'm like, yeah, whatever. They're used to like that sort of calendar thing. Well, in Germany, I think they have fewer teams as well, so they play fewer games, and they're like, there's so much less. Do you know what I'm saying? Werner having to come in with the physicality and then people parking the bus. They don't do that in Germany. You know what I'm saying? They all play really high line and he just gets in and runs in, man. Because Werner, if you go back and look at Werner's goals against Leipzig and some of the things that he missed some really stupid sitters. Do you know what I'm saying? He did miss some really stupid sitters. So I don't know. I'm not too bothered, because he will get into his stride. Do you know what I'm saying? Same thing with Havertz, and like, yeah, I'm not worried. I'm really not that worried. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I'm a bit, this is counterintuitive, but one thing I'm a bit concerned about is that if these men don't really get the sort of targets that they should, I wouldn't be surprised if we got like an Erling Haaland next summer. He's going to be available, 75 million. Haaland will score 1 out of every 1.5 shots or something like that? It's ridiculous. Do you know what I'm saying? So that is what we sort of need. Imagine if I had a Haaland in this team, the number of goals we'd be scoring is ridiculous. So we're winning games now, but when push comes to shove and you have 1 or 2, 3 big chances in the game and that's all you get, you need someone that will score at least one of those. And you know what I mean? Dami and Werner this season haven't proven to be those players. Do you know what I mean? Look at Werner hitting the top. Was it the top post? I can't remember what team that was against, but all those little things count. For now, not too much, because we're cutting them some slack. But when push comes to shove, they need to come through, and I believe they will eventually. So yeah.
I think the thing you mentioned about like Morata and players like that, what I like about Timo is he's missed some big chances, but it doesn't seem to get him down. Like the Leeds game was a prime example of this, and I think it's the same with Newcastle, right? 2 occasions where he misses big chances earlier in the game, and you think with Morata and Torres, that would have been their game done. Like they would have just mentally, they would have been fried, and they would have basically almost been a ghost for the rest of the game. Timo, because of that sort of acceleration and pace, that's always going to get behind the fences if they leave space. but he sets up the killer goal in both of those games. He sets up Tammy and then he sets up Pulisic right at the end. I think that shows you a player that has still got the mentality that I'm still going to get myself in front of goal enough times. There's no sort of like hiding and, caving into a shot. So I think I agree with you. I think he will score a lot of goals. He is one of those players that I think is just so difficult for defenses to stop because, especially when you get delivery from Mason like he did the other week, I think he will get those chances and he will probably score a high number of goals. Just on Kai Havertz, you were mentioning Kai Havertz a few times. I mean, I've got questions about him, and I think there needs to be an understanding as well with COVID how much that's knocked him back in the past couple of weeks and fitness wise, because apparently he's actually had, in terms of having actual symptoms and it really hurting him. Pogba, I think, has mentioned this, that it really does mess with you in terms of a top athlete. In terms of where he's playing, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because Lampard's now found a great formation for Chelsea, right? He's found the 4-3-3, which we all want to continue with. Is that going to be an issue in the long term with Kai, especially if you've got Ziyech playing on the right as sort of the main player on that part, and then Kai as a sort of number 8? I mean, how do you get the best out of Kai in a 4-3-3?
The thing is, like you said rightfully about the virus going around, didn't it? I mean, it's going around. I had it as well, didn't it? And it does affect you. Do you know what I'm saying? It does affect you health wise. I was doing quite a lot of gym that time. Now I'm just a lazy child. But anyways, I was doing quite a lot of stuff. When it hit me, I didn't even really have that many. I didn't even have symptoms. All I had was like a minor headache. But then at the end of the day, I still couldn't go back into my fitness the way I could. So that's affecting him. The fact that he's changed countries affecting him. Weather has changed up. Number of games. That's a lot. He's 21. He's my mate. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't hack that. On the big stage, paying the big bucks. Now, there are too many factors involved. Expensive signing, all those things are happening. But when it comes to the tactical stuff, I am not too sure. One thing I felt like could possibly happen is Mason is showing how fit and well he can be. I'm not trying to overrun him, but we do play like the 4-3-3 like that. So you've got Kante, Mount, and Havertz. I've always felt like they could almost sort of shift in a way that Havertz is getting to play like more in between the half spaces because that's where he likes to operate. Havertz is not the sort of player that is going to pick up the ball and like progress you too much. He can. He's done that, definitely done it several times, but not as deep as Mason does it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I feel like it's something that we could just shift a little bit, even if it's just like Mount is slightly deeper and Havertz is slightly higher. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I know Mount is needed to press up front because he's really energetic and he's really good at that. But I do think stuff like that can change. I know that when we played against Krasnodar, I know that was just a throwaway game, but he asked Lampard if he could play on the right wing because Havertz can play as a false nine, he can play on the right wing, he can play as a striker. He's done it at Leverkusen. Do you know what I'm saying? So do I feel like he can adapt moving forward? Definitely, because Havertz has a killer pass. He's really, really good at passing, and that's something that we haven't seen much of because of how we've been playing. But if Havertz gets the ball to you, your chances of scoring are basically like 95% because of how well he puts everything. So he can definitely get in more about the goals because I feel like he needs to be slightly higher up. So I'm not too sure. That's one of those things where I'm like, how is Lampard going to play this one? Because he can't play as the 8. He has been doing it, but he's not been showing us what Havertz is about. Another thing I do have to mention is the fact that we need to give him a bit more time. So it's interesting with Kai right now because I've watched the player for 2 years or so. I saw him at Leverkusen, and before the hype even got involved, I knew what Havertz was on. Do you know what I'm saying? And look at his numbers as well, up there with Messi, Ronaldo, I think this year or something like that. It's ridiculous. So at the end of the day, when you look at all those different elements and pieces and how well he's played in the past, I back him to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? I just maybe say Lampard move him up a bit more, maybe just like 5-10 meters. Do you know what I'm saying? It will make a difference. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I sort of think with the whole Havertz situation. But now he does need time. That's something that he does need overall. Out of anything, he needs time.
I definitely agree, and I've made a comparison to when Eden arrived at sort of a similar age, and you look at his first season, had some really good moments, but he was never reaching the heights or was not even close to where he eventually got to at Chelsea. And it's all down to age, right? You can't compare him to Hakim Ziyech. Hakim Ziyech is in the prime of his career at the moment. He's basically a fully formed player arriving in the Premier League. Kai isn't like that. He's the similar age to Tammy, to Mason, even younger than some of these players as well. So I think there needs to be that appreciation. Chelsea didn't buy Havertz for the short term. They bought him for the long term. And I do agree. I think that stats also show that in his career, he gets better in the second half of the season, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
So hopefully that'll be the case for Chelsea as well. And hopefully he thrives a bit more as he gets used to playing for Chelsea.